You can list standards on the board all you want, but until you engage their heart, really engage it, either personally through your relationship with them or by having them encounter something that really has meaning, where they can touch the felt experience of another person. That's what motivates them, I think, in my experience.
One of the dispositions identified by the Common Core state standards in English language arts is that students respond to the varying demands of audience, task, purpose, and discipline. Little children of the earth, these fables are for you. The boys and girls who wrote them were once little too. Some stories end in smiles, while others end in sorrow. So take the wisdom at the end, which you are free to borrow. Little children of the earth, these fables are all true, because the boys and girls who wrote them were once little too.
Kids were first asked to do an informal piece of writing where they documented a time when something happened and they learned something from it.
Kyle would only be back for major holidays and other vacations. I can imagine how hard it must have been on my dad. His son was moving out all the way to a little town called Blairsville, Pennsylvania, almost 9 hours away. For me, though, it was one of the hardest moments I've ever lived through. That feeling of movement nothing else could compare to, the feeling of freedom and despair.
They had studied fables and read some fables, and so they rewrote the story, changing the characters to animals. And when they changed the characters to animals, the details of the stories changed as well.
Turtle and Heron were constantly playing and helping each other in new ways. They built a strong and caring friendship throughout the summer. When it started getting colder, Heron knew it was time for him to migrate south. Turtle and Heron said their goodbyes, and Heron left. Even though Heron was incredibly sad, he knew that he would return to his great friend as soon as it was warm again.
And so they worked, and when they had a finished draft of that, then we were ready for the illustrations. They had to practice doing their drawing on sheep scratch paper, and as soon as they had nailed it, they got a really high-end block, and they did their final one, and they knew they only got one block. And here is the block, and they had to be ready for it. And some kids, before they could approach their block, they practiced and practiced and practiced. There's a caterpillar on a leaf. He practiced so many times making the texture of the leaf different enough from the texture of the caterpillar so that you could see the caterpillar and the little bug next to it, and how to leave enough black for the little bug's legs. I mean, they really worked at that. They had the experience of all those steps, step after step after step after step. And so I just think that all the work of the illustrations was a great primer for craftsmanship going forward.